Hey guys, I'm Matt and welcome to Cobb Hill Farms. In today's video, I'm going to keep working on this Kubota U35 mini excavator. So yesterday I went through and got the hydraulic oil drained out of it. Drained out about 8.5 gallons of oil. Kubota makes it pretty easy for you to be able to do that. I removed the side hood that goes over the top. That attaches to this lower side shield. I removed that as well. That gained me access to this drain plug. This drain plug is where you drain the hydraulic oil out of it. It's just got a plug with a nylon sealing ring on it. Trying to get every ounce of hydraulic oil out of this is about short of impossible unless you take every single cylinder apart, drain every hose out, take every valve apart. So what I did was I collapsed every hydraulic cylinder as much as I possibly could, with the exception of the boom swing cylinder and the angle blade cylinder. I left those straight. But that got the majority of the oil, because the majority of the oil is back in the hydraulic tank. This system, I believe, holds around 14 gallons, and we got out about 9 gallons, so it's a little better than half. This machine has 3 hydraulic filters that are directly related to the hydraulic tank. 2 of them are inside the hydraulic tank, and the third one is right here, the breather filter. The 2 that are down inside the tank, one is a suction filter mounted on the suction side of the hydraulic pump. Oil that's fed from the hydraulic tank to the hydraulic pump gets filtered, and then the oil coming back to the tank, or a return filter, is also inside the tank. I think it's easy enough. I'm just going to get this little hose right out of my way. According to the service manual, one of the filters ought to be mounted right directly to this assembly that we're going to unbolt and take out of here. The other filter should screw on a bulkhead down inside the hydraulic tank. So I guess we'll wait and see. It's been typical March weather around here the last few days. It's right now in the mid-30s, cloudy. A couple snow flurries in the air. It's not supposed to warm up much the next 3 or 4 days, and then I think by the weekend it's supposed to warm back up at least into the 40s and 50s. So I think I'm just going to leave this wire harness right where it is. I think I got enough room to pull this housing up and probably off to the side and clear this. I'm not going to worry about this breather hose either. That should come up and out when I pick this filter housing assembly out of there. I guess we'll have to wait and see if my theory's correct. Well, I guess I need a bigger impact. Well, there's the one filter. And right down there's the other one. We got this filter assembly clamped in the vise to hold it while we try to change this filter. And one thing I noted right off the bat that Kubota did that I thought was a pretty ingenious, cheap, and effective design was they have this welded tab with a lock bolt and jam nut that the jam bolt locks down on a flat on the filter, the hex end of the filter, and prevents the filter from backing off and falling off and not doing its job. Those engineers, they're pretty smart fellas. That's why I guess why they make the big bucks. Ha ha ha, yeah, right. I think I finally got it. Yep. Well, that was on there tighter than I expected. Now I'm just going to put this back on dry, no pipe tape or nothing, because that's the way the old one was. Run our jam bolt down. Snug it up just a little bit and tighten our nut up. Well, we'll leave that in the vise for safekeeping. Now we got our suction filter. I'm going to unbox this so I can figure out what size wrench I need for here. So when I go down in the hole, I only got to do it once. Well, looks like I might just have to use a fits-all. This hex is bigger than any combination wrench or even crescent wrench that I got. So I might have to just try to use a pair of channel locks and see if I can get her broke loose. See if I can do this without dropping it. I have another idea. Let's try a regular old strap wrench. See if I can get on there with that. Worst part is I can't see what I'm doing. So I can only do it with the eyes and the ends of my fingers. Well, I don't know if that's going to work either. I'll check back with you in a few minutes. Alright, I think I got somewhere. Get my sleeve out of there. There we are. Alright, I used a combination of a pipe wrench on the hex to get it broke free, and then I used a regular old steel filter wrench to spin it off the rest of the way and get it off. So now, there's the old one and there's the new one, comparing the two. The old one don't look too awful bad, looks good and clean. I don't see anything that looks concerning to it. Any metal or brass or aluminum filings. Nothing at all that looks concerning. So that's a good sign. Well, let's see if we can get this filter on the same way we took the old one off. I apologize, there's not much I can show down in there. It's all done by feel. Well, I got it started. I think it's tight enough. I don't think it'll go nowhere. This didn't come with a new O-ring. This O-ring here looks like it's in really good shape. The sealing surface on here is in good shape too, so there's nothing we need to do to get this to seal any better. So let's just get it put back in. Well, it might help if I have electrical wiring on the right side of everything. I got some great news. The gentleman that I'm getting the Farmall 460 from that has been in the hospital, the parts tractor that I'm going to be getting, he's home. I talked to him the other day. He's doing pretty good. But the tractor's all set for me to go get. He got the loader off of it with some help from a friend or two, and it's all ready for me to go get. So Logan and I are going to take a ride this Sunday to go get that, get it home, get it in the shop, so that way we can start tearing it apart and getting the PTO parts I need for our 460 out of it. So we're going to be making some headway on that here before long. I know I've said it before, but I hopefully mean it this time. Well, that pretty well takes care of all the filters inside the hydraulic tank. This breather filter we're all set with. Not going to do anything with it. The only other filter we have to change in relation to the hydraulic system is this pilot filter right here. What that filter does is it filters the pilot oil in the hydraulic system. So basically your hydraulic system is made up of what I'm going to call 3 different pressures. You have your system pressure, which would be your pilot pressure, about 400 psi. That is a pressure that runs throughout the system to keep things charged, keeps oil flowing. Pilots use for cooling. And then you have your working pressure, which is out at your boom, you know, your blade down, your blade up, and those vary based on the machine, and they can range anywhere from 2,500 to 3,500 psi or more. Like I said, it all varies on the machine. And then you have your atmospheric pressure, which is basically your suction pressure. So that's a brief synopsis of the hydraulic system and what the pressures are and what they do. So without getting any more into it, we gotta change that filter. I've forgotten more than I'll ever remember on working on a lot of this stuff. Back when I used to work for the Bobcat dealer, you know, I knew a lot of these hydraulic systems inside and out. When you're working on them every day, it's easy to remember. But my days of working for Bobcat are at the shortest period about 12 years ago. So like I said, I've probably forgotten more than I'll ever remember and retain about a lot of this stuff. And we'll put the new filter on. There. I think we're good. Now we'll start the slow, tedious process of putting the oil back in it. There's one pail. There it comes up in the sight glass. Alright, I think that'll be good for now. That'll give us plenty of oil to start it, run it, put it through its paces, and then we can recheck everything once everything's been filled back up, hoses and whatnot. looks pretty good so far. It's about halfway in the sight glass, but we'll check it again later on. But I don't see any oil leaks. I think this oil here is just residual what's left in the threads, because I've wiped it off a couple times and it just kind of seeps out a little bit, so we'll keep an eye on that. But everything else looks pretty good. Well, I guess we might as well put the shrouds back on. And one lonely bolt here in the back on the bottom. That should be it. Latch it up in place. Well, we should be set for a little while. I am gonna work it a little bit. I got a couple other little small projects to do with it around here. That'll give the oil an opportunity to warm up, work out any other little bit of air that might be in the system somewhere. Then we'll recheck the hydraulic oil level, but he should be good to go for another few years. But what can we get into now? Let's go see what some of the critters are up to. There's all the belly acres. Much to my surprise, the garden hose is working today. What's the matter? What? You guys want your grain? Is that what you're trying to tell me? You waiting patiently? Come here. All right, maybe another day. Yeah, we gotta fluff up their hay just a little bit. Let's see what the little porksters are up to. About the camera, come on over here. Pigs have been out 2 days now, and they pretty well been behaving themselves. When we first let them out, of course, with them being cooped up in that shelter for a week, they were a little rambunctious. They figured out the fence pretty quick. We did have 2 of them that got out, but they came right back in, mostly because they didn't understand the boundaries with the fence. But once they realized that fence was hot, they didn't really mess with it after that. They've been good since that, initial hour or so. So far so good, but they're definitely enjoying their larger room to run around. Yeah, it looks like their water's full. I'm gonna make a pond over here. And we'll top theirs off while we're at it. Well, it was another productive day here on the farm. We got the hydraulic system all serviced on the excavator, and I'm glad to finally have the pigs out on pasture where they can root around and they got some room to run. Keeping them cooped up in that shed, I don't like doing it, but it's kind of a necessary evil, because if I didn't do that, they would probably just go barreling through the fence, and with everything being all new to them, you learn from others and their experiences, so you know, you adopt what you see works. So that's the way we've been doing it since we ever started pigs here on the farm 4 years ago. Well, this would be the 5th, and it worked. So I enjoy looking out the window every morning now, and again, that's the first thing I see is usually those pigs out there rooting around in the dirt, and there's no better sight than that. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up. If you like our channel, as always, we ask you to subscribe. I hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next time.